Welcome to Ignorance Unleashed with your host Salvatore Cavalieri. Step into Salvatore's bold and unapologetic take on today's news and its impact on real estate. In just 10 minutes, enjoy no-nonsense insights with a dash of humor and absurdity. Approved by his psychiatrist and wife because they agree he needs this outlet.
Hey. So now, we're at the end of this year of 2024. And of course, I'm wearing green for the holidays and Christmas, of course, So every time we have Christmas, I remember my family back in Venezuela. I remember that my father and my mom, come from the old country. My father comes from Sicily. My mom comes from the Canary Islands, okay? So they immigrated to Venezuela in the 50s and they thrive over there, okay? And they only have one son, this guy here, okay? So I remember vividly, in the times of Christmas, it was kind of a situation of being happy because it's Christmas, we're going to see the family, the extended family, meaning, and at the same time, it was kind of stressful, I remember. Okay, so today I want to focus more on my uncle, Pipo, and the relationship he had with my dad, Orlando. Okay, and how this thing relates to real estate. So hopefully here you get a lesson of these synergies between these two totally different humans. Okay, so my uncle Pipo, he was the older of the family, and my dad was the youngest. I think the difference between the two were about 7 years. Okay. So they migrated to Venezuela. My granddad was able to give them some kind of a startup money that he saved in Italy, and he gave this money to for both brothers to start a new life in the new continent. So they went to Venezuela. They were before ending up in Venezuela, they were thinking, well, should I go to Argentina? Which Argentina was booming. Also, we had an incredible amount of Italians in Argentina. Actually, last year I had an amazing trip to Argentina, and I went, of course, to Buenos Aires, and then it went to Ushuaia, in the most southern continental city in the world. At least the Argentinians say that. The Chileans have a different opinion, apparently. But anyway, I went to Argentina. I had a great, amazing time. And also, when I spent some time in Buenos Aires, I could not believe the amount of Italian heritage in that place. It looked like I was in Italy. So, nice. Even a lot of people speak Italian. I was very shocked to see in a good way that. But anyway, going back to Venezuela, so my parents, for some reason that I don't know, decided to, my father and my uncle actually, decided to end up in Venezuela. Venezuela was booming with oil. Okay, and probably that was the disgrace of the country, having so much oil, that they forgot that they should produce other stuff and export other stuff. Anyway, so they only have oil. So it was booming, construction, restaurants. So my father and my uncle got into the restaurant business. My father had a degree on that, and they started having great restaurants, especially one that was very famous. It was called Café Ganja in the center of Caracas, in a very nice part of the city of I think it was called. Anyhow, so they were able to scrap some money here, and there, and were able to open this restaurant. My parents, my dad was the first one to import from Italy the most gorgeous chocolates and from Italy, Motta and Perugina and all those stuff. The first time that they came to Venezuela was through my dad in the 50s, So here comes my uncle. My uncle, all of a sudden, because of this wealth, he forgot he needed to work, and so here comes his life in contrast with my dad, the younger one. And what I mean is that my uncle will wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, show up in the pasticceria, because my father had a pasticceria, which means a pastry shop. And you need to wake up really early when you go to a pastry shop, okay? You need to be there probably at 4 in the morning, to prepare all the sweets and all the stuff and the things. And my uncle didn't show up because he was a gigolo, really. So there is a book that I'm finishing. This part of the title is Cent by Cent, and I'll explain why. Anyway, so he wouldn't show up on time. He wouldn't show up at all. He had one car every month probably, and so I'm gonna start putting as I find the pictures, I will start putting them because it's unbelievable. So, of course, my dad, who was always at work early, who was punctual, who was disciplined, he started having issues with my uncle, who only show up to show off his cute face, and live the expensive, wealthy life at night, because the pasticceria had a restaurant on the second floor, fancy stuff, cocktails, women, famous ones, even some presidents from other countries that they escaped, they ended up in that restaurant. So it was a great location for my dad also to meet amazing people, amazing stories. I was not born; I was born way later because my parents were working. We were working so hard that probably too stressed to have a kid. But here comes the story. Back in the 70s, I was born in 1970. Back in the 70s, during Christmas, my father and mother decided to move completely away to Caracas to stay away from the family, especially my uncle, and move to Puerto La Cruz, which was a new oil town. That's what it was, an oil town by the ocean. So they will take the oil out of the ground. They will refine the oil out of the ground. Don't remember how it works. And they will ship it out to the world right there in the port. Okay, so in reality, I grew up in there. I grew up in an Italian school in there. So my upbringing is super incredible because you have all these mixes. But anyway, so I remember on Christmas or Christmas Eve, my dad and my uncle had a conversation over the phone about finances, because my uncle was always pursuing the next shiny shit. Okay, so I remember when I was little, I was probably 5, 6, or 7. I remember them talking in Italian, Sicilian, of course, and getting into a nasty fight because my uncle always ran out of money. My uncle didn't show up for contractors when they were going to finish the work. He was building a massive peluqueria for the ladies to do the hair and stuff, a massive place and a gorgeous place, but he never finished it. And he was always constantly asking money for my dad. Meanwhile, my dad, we lived in a tiny apartment in Puerto La Cruz. He had construction partnerships he developed with other local people. So he was making money cent by cent, and my uncle calling for money. And my dad, of course, he wanted to help the brother. But at the same time, he had limited resources. So my father was making money, little by little. Back then in the 70s, early 80s, the currency started to devaluate and it was tough to make business, but my father kept on going. And I asked him, hey, Dad, how come the economy is going down? My uncle keeps asking for money. How do you do it? Well, I make money one cent by cent. I buy the land, I construct the land, I develop the land, and then I get all these little shoppings. Tiny, they were tiny, probably the size of this office, 15 by 15, something like that. And then he will be selling those little by little. As the currency devaluates, I wasn't able to adjust it. So instead of having something really, really, really big that you will sell all in one shot and be so exposed, he had like little things, little shops that he will sell individually in order to make up for that devaluation. Everything in my house was for sale, I remember. Everything. If we had a cat, that cat would have been sold 20 times. In everything that he could sell for a profit, he would turn into dollars because of the currency. So this mentality of that cent by cent, you need to make it, you need to investing in things that you make the money little by little in the long period of time is when you make the most. Okay, so you need to be disciplined. You need to be consistent. You need to know the market. You have your goals very clear. My uncle, the gigolo, didn't have any of that. And by the way, interesting enough, he was the one that went to college, the oldest one. My dad, no. My dad only went to technical school for hospitality management back in Italy, and then he ended up in Venezuela. A kid, 18 years old, the same age I came here, the United States. Okay, so the lesson of this story today, it is: number one, you need to budget really well. Number two, don't be a gigolo. It's very costly in money, in relationships, and everything. Actually, my uncle died 20 years ago, and we're still dealing with the mess he left behind. Okay? Because of his crazy life. My dad, instead, made his money one deal at a time in a small increments, like kind of a subscription concept, but for real estate. You know, if you look at the most powerful companies around, they charge up a subscription to you, maybe cable, maybe watching TV, maybe, I don't know, something that you pay every month, $29 or $19. It doesn't hurt you. Well, you know, he was able to develop these shopping centers and then sell them piecemeal by piecemeal basis as the economy fluctuated in inflation. So at the same time, he was telling that to my uncle, and he was completely deaf. He didn't listen. So this is the my lesson today, life lesson. You know, hopefully it's useful to you, that sometimes you're going to have someone in the family who really doesn't care, doesn't want to listen to do that, and maybe dragging you down. If you have someone in the family that is dragging you down, cut relationships, really. Cut it, because you're not going to go up. You're going to go down. Second, the most important lesson here to me, it is this concept of making the money little by little, consistently. Little by little, consistently. That's the way you get to the next thing. Okay, and it has proven so much. Nowadays, I have clients that they didn't have the patience, and they sold too early. Flippers. I don't do flippers. I consider them. I just don't touch them. There you go. They go buy something. They make $20,000, $30,000. Then the taxes hit them really hard, and then they're desperately looking for another deal. See, this is short-term thinking, making money quickly. That doesn't work. I have another one. No, my cash flow is just $700 for a tiny property. And I said, damn it, but you have a 3.4 interest rate. Your tenants are paying that. No, I need to go for the next shiny stuff. Well, go have fun with that. If you make more consistently, and it's a legal thing, let me know. But there is no shortcuts in life. And I learned that a little bit later in life. I at the beginning of my career, I was thinking more, I buy, improve, and then sell. No, keep it, and rent it. Okay? So short-term thinking, long-term linking, cent by cent. That's the way you make money. Cent by cent, and take your sweet time. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Buon Natale.